Disclaimer: the following program features language not suitable for all audiences, and the expressed opinions found within this program are a reflection of those who feature on the PopCulture Effect podcast. Welcome to the PopCulture Effect. I'm Rockin Rob, and on this show, I bring my closest friends together to talk about all the news happening in our pop culture world around us.
Welcome everyone back to the PopCulture Effect. I'm Gemini, and here today I am joined by some of my greatest friends. Today we have...
What? How did
my brain died!
Yeah, how do you manage to do this every time, Trin? What? When I'm locked away in the editor's dimension, I know two things. One, Subset and Gemini just are not good at starting episodes. No offense.
It's because my brain took a shit. Anyway, today I am joined by Menace.
Hello.
And and today, for a rare opportunity, we have let him out of the goddamn editor's dimension to Norbert the Robbie.
It's too bright out here. I'm tired. Send me back, please.
Everyone else is busy with life and work. We need
you need me.
Actually, it's more you. Actually,
it's more like you need more content for the video, so you joined it.
Well,
yeah, it's more you need yourself.
So it's kind of a give and take.
I mean, I could have been perfectly fine with staying asleep.
Yeah.
No, not allowed.
Well, I'm
not. See? Proof.
Yeah, dude.
It's more for me, it wasn't sleep. I just have to get ready for work then. But
yeah, good to be back. It's been a while. I've just been creeping in the background, so hello. I'm back.
It's not really like you're back. You're still in the videos, or in the...
Oh yeah, I never leave.
You're actually like conversing with us versus talking to yourself like a schizo. Anyway.
Yeah. Now, with this being a more gaming-centric episode, I had a few topics I wanted to talk about, but this one is the most important, so I'm going to get it out right from the top, and that is that Overwatch has announced its Classic limited time event. Now, I am personally both incredibly upset and incredibly intrigued by this, because apparently it's going to be taking things all the way back to the first launch of Overwatch 1, and there's a very limited pool of characters, with those being the ones that were in the game at launch with their launch movesets. So you have Scatter Arrow returning, you have Symmetra Turrets and her Shield Generator Teleporter ult returning, and you get Bastion's turret form. And to go with this, the maps that are coming with this are all the old 2CP maps. You got Volskaya, Temple of Anubis, and Hanamura, with Ilios, Lijiang Tower, and Nepal being your control maps. And then you get Route 66, Dorado, and Gibraltar as the escort maps. And for the hybrid maps, we have Hollywood, Kings Row, and Numbani. Now, like I said, I was pretty interested in this, as this will give all of the current Overwatch 2 players a sense of how the game was back at launch, but I'm also incredibly pissed off about this, because this should have been a permanent change. There were literally leaks for Fortnite OG, where they're going to be permanently bringing it back in December. And Overwatch is just like, oh, we'll just have this for 3 weeks, let people enjoy it, then take it away from them. You guys are literally galvanizing and cannibalizing your game and your community, because you're literally saying, oh, all the things that everybody loves about the game, you know, all the old character movesets, all the old maps, no limits, we took all that away. But guess what? We're going to give it back to you, but then we're going to just take it back away from you again. Like, this does not give any benefit to the company. Blizzard is so stupid for making this a limited time event, because if they made this a permanent change, I'm pretty sure a vast swath of people would return to Overwatch. Because the game has been dying, it hasn't been getting any better, all that's been coming to the game is new skins, and the latest OP character that's gonna rule the meta for a while until they obviously nerf them into the ground, or take away what's interesting to them in the first place. And yeah, that's a more heated talking point about Overwatch. I mean, it's cool to see all the old maps, it's cool to see all the old characters in their old fashion. I mean, we get to see the defensive hero role return, and we get to see Symmetra return as a support character, but at the end of the day, like, who cares? Overwatch has been dying, Marvel Rivals is on the rise, and it's almost coming out, and once it does come out, I don't think anybody's really going to be playing Overwatch anymore. There will still be the player base, but it'll be those whales that have stuck around the entire time. But that's kind of a smaller talking point I wanted to discuss about Overwatch Classic. But now I think it's time to return to your regularly scheduled programming discussing Black Ops 6. Something that, in my eyes, is not useless is this game. Now, this game, Menace, I don't care, I'm sticking with it. This game, Black Ops 6, has been something I have been waiting for. I feel about eons, honestly.
You've been waiting. You haven't been waiting for Black Ops 6. You've been waiting for round-based zombies to come back.
Okay. If you're gonna call me out right off
let's
the top,
let's not get to where we are, because
before we get to that discussion, please take us through your initial thoughts on the game when it comes to the non-zombified aspects.
Let me set this up for you guys how I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna talk about each individual section. There's 3 parts to Black Ops 6. There's the campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. So I wanted to start with the campaign. I wanted to start it off by saying that I was originally not even going to get this Call of Duty. This is the first Call of Duty on Game Pass, like I said during trend section. Gemini section, my bad. But either way, and I wasn't going to play this Call of Duty unless it felt different. And not just because of the new movement system, but because of like how the gunplay feels, how like just the movement, the characters in the campaign, how everything feels. It does feel like a different Call of Duty. I'm very excited about that. So I started playing it, and I've been liking it more and more. It's kind of been like mixed reviews for the most part. But the campaign, you start off, normally you do like a pre-mission, like always, and it turns out that there are essentially the CIA has a mole for this new bad organization called Pantheon, which is this paramilitary group, and there's a mole in the CIA. So your group, Woods, Adler from the last Black Ops game, meet up with Marshall, who's Woods' like new apprentice, and your player character, Case. You all dip out of the CIA and kind of go rogue as this new rogue Black Ops group. So my favorite thing about this campaign is, unlike other Call of Duties where you're loaded into a map, you have your set loadout, you go through the missions, shoot everybody down, guns blazing, yeehaw. You have choices that you can make in every single mission, whether you want to actually take this like a Black Ops crew. You can go full stealth, have nobody see you, nobody notice you, the entire mission in and out clean, or you can do the normal Call of Duty thing, go shooty pew pew. But there's also, true to Black Ops form, there's codes that you can find in the story that'll unlock secret stuff for you in the other modes. There's hidden safes where you have to do a wavelength cipher and match up the wavelengths to find the right radio signal to find the code for these safes. You have like Caesar ciphers where you gotta match up key numbers to letters to hack into computers during the missions. You have there's 2 other types of ciphers that I can't even remember. You are doing stealthy, actual Black Ops covert shit, and I love it so much. It's so cool. But with the safes, you are actually finding money and stuff because you left the CIA and you're rogue, you are all on your own. It's literally a plot point for you to collect secrets and money in this game. You have a safe house. You have this beautiful old mansion that Woods and Adler took over back in their Cold War days. And you use this money to spruce up the safe house, buy upgrades for yourself, your weapons. You want to increase your health. You can give yourself more weapon attachments. You can give yourself more equipment to use. Because unlike in other Call of Duties in the campaign, they kind of started this with MW3, MW2's campaign, where your equipment is essentially on a radio wheel, and you can choose like an RCXD for your lethal stealth mine, where you throw it out, it makes a sound drawing enemies to it, and when the enemies get close, it shoots out sleeping darts and they get knocked out. Bunch of different upgrades for you and your safe house. There's a whole thing in the safe house where you get a black light and you gotta follow the black light, find a code on a piano, put in the code, opens a secret door, you go down, you do every single type of cipher and code in the game to unlock this $2,000 safe and you get a knife blueprint for multiplayer and stuff like that. So you're actually not paying for stuff in the game. You're actually earning this through the game, which I've been waiting for Call of Duty to do for so long. The story is really good. You get to build up a whole new team. You have like this disguise expert who's an ex-assassin. You have your classic German hacker. His name's Felix. He's my favorite character in the game. The mission that I just played, you come back and he's making stew for everybody. It's my favorite scene so far. And you talk to him, and halfway through, your guy Case just goes to like take a spoonful. He smacks your hand away. He's like, "No, not ready yet. Wait, I'll give you some later." So I'm constantly waiting for my stew, but every mission I come back and there's no stew for me. And the multiplayer, I want to kind of switch off to that because that's about where I've gotten in the campaign. I am excited to keep playing more. I've been streaming it. Multiplayer, it's Call of Duty. It does feel different. Like I said before, with the new movement system, the weapons feel more, I don't want to say realistic, but the time to take down your opponents is quicker. You kind of have to be more on your feet, or you can be a little, lack of better terms, bitch, and just sit in a corner. But I don't know. It feels fast paced, but we haven't really gotten all the maps at this point. At the time of recording this, the first season hasn't even dropped yet. We just got Nuketown yesterday, dating the video.
Which is good. Is a good map.
Oh yeah. It's more of the classic Nuketown. It's not like Black Ops 4 or 3 where it's that futuristic.
Which I'm so glad for. I'm so glad they went for a more rustic and low-key version of it than something that just kind of,
Oh yeah, I'm very glad. My thing though, and one of my favorite things that I haven't really played on the map yet is that you have Nuketown that just came out, but on launch in a specific playlist, Mosh Pit, it's called Warhead, and it's essentially you play in the aftermath of Nuketown, because at the end of every Nuketown match, you see the testing bomb drop, and you see the Nuketown map get exploded. Well, the map Warhead and Mosh Pit, you play in that place. You play in the desolate, barren, destroyed version of Nuketown, and it's really cool that you get to, because I don't know, I know a few other people that have said it, and I've been saying it for years. I want to play in what happens after. We kind of did with Black Ops, or with Nuketown Zombies, but the testing site seemed really far away to where it didn't even affect the town that much.
I mean, that brings up a question that I've had for a little bit. Like, they said the game launched with 15 maps, but I feel like we've only played like 6 or 8?
There's 16 maps, but some are spread between different modes. I'm guessing that they're gonna rotate some in and out to the different modes. Or it could just be a fact of with Warhead itself, kind of bringing it up as the base example, it's very open. Warhead is very open. You only have you have the 2 buildings, but they're destroyed, semi-covered by the sand and dirt from the bomb going off. And the rest is just open. You got some tunnels to go into, but it doesn't seem like there's a place for Search and Destroy is the main mode that me and you play. There's no real place for the bombs to go down in Search and Destroy that aren't out in the open middle of the sand.
Yeah, I think that just also shows that we only play 1 or 2 game modes. We only play Search or Team Deathmatch because we don't play any of the other more larger scale game modes.
Essentially how most Call of Duties do it is they have their maps set by the mode. We play core, so there's only a set number of maps for core. Then Mosh Pit has its own mode, or Mosh Pit is a whole new playlist, or not new, but a whole different playlist. So that has its own maps, so on and so forth. But going more into the mechanics and the class building,
the thing the whole game was built around.
Well, no, everybody's talked about Omni movement since the first trailer came out. I don't want to. It's cool. You get to run in every direction, slide and dive in every direction. It is a game changer, but it's honestly not that big of a deal, in my opinion.
I get that, but on the bigger scale, yeah, it's probably not going to be the biggest game change. It's not going to be the biggest change that's going to come to Call of Duty. There'll probably be other things they can introduce or
it is a big change, and a lot of people are still getting used to it. A lot of people are complaining about it because people complain about everything in Call of Duty, but I just think that it makes the game feel more real. You're not just gonna only be sprinting forward and having to turn to sprint. You're gonna be sprinting sideways to get to cover. You're gonna be diving sideways and backwards to kind of back yourself up. Granted, I don't know how people slide backwards in real life, but unless you're pushing off something.
I mean, we've been asking this question since, how can you slide upstairs? Like, this has been a thing.
How can you slide upstairs? Yeah.
Physics. Oh God, I can't remember that.
No, you gotta suspend your disbelief a little bit. It is a video game, but whatever.
No. I know the secret that these game developers aren't telling us. I know, and it's because they're hiding the truth, and that is that they're all getting floor waxed. Every single video game is getting their floors waxed. And
well, I don't know how that helps with stairs that have 90-degree angles.
Oh, you get a real nice sheen on them, and they slide right up.
Just slide up the stairs?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Okay, well, no, I was referencing a YouTuber, but now I can't find his channel, so I can't do the thing that I usually do. So, anyways,
it's all good. But for those of you that do play COD, I know it's a big contingent in Modern Warfare 3 that silence. You had 4 to 5 different ways to make your footsteps silent in this game. In this one, you have one. You have Ninja, which silences your footsteps, and they have 3 different types of perks: red, blue, and green. If you have 3 of the same kind of perks, you get a specialist ability, which I think is a very cool addition to it. I actually have it pulled up here. If you have 3 red ones, you get Enforcer. Taking down enemies gives you buff to movement speed and health regen. Recon, which gives you wall hacks for about 3 seconds after you respawn, and also gives you the perk Eye Alert. So if someone looks at you, you will get kind of like a flash on the side of your screen in the direction of them. Then you have Strategist, which you earn bonus. You can see equipment through walls, and you get your field upgrade faster, and you also gain your kill streaks faster. But going back to the whole silent thing, you have 3 separate slots for perks, and each of them have set perks in those slots. The only way that you can pick any extra perks from those slots is by using a specific. They brought back the wildcard system, and they brought back Perk Greed. Perk Greed only allows you to have 1 extra perk from any slot. So you have to be very meticulous with what you choose for your perks. You can't have Ghost where you can't be picked up by UAVs, Ninja so you have no footstep sounds, and Flak Jacket so you can survive a grenade. They are all in the same column. You cannot have all 3 of those perks at the same time. So you need to choose what you want to do, how you want to play, if you want to be silent, if you want to be more tanky, if you want to be unseen. And I love that. I love that you can't have 4 different ways to be silent on one class, have no footsteps the entire game. Because that was honestly one of my biggest things in Modern Warfare 3. Like, there's no way that someone can be silent all the time. There's no way that someone can just make no sounds in any way possible. And that's what you could do in Modern Warfare 3. This one actually gives you have to make choices, is my main thing that I keep coming back to. And I think that is something that Call of Duty has lost and Black Ops 6 has brought back. One of the things I like, and I know you have mentioned it as well, Bobble, that you have a melee on you at all times. You don't have to choose your secondary to be a pistol launcher or melee. You get a primary, secondary, and you have a knife on you. By holding your melee button, you can pull it out.
I don't care if you disagree with me. Zombies has permanently changed Black Ops 6 multiplayer and given it a mule kick. I don't care. I count a knife as a third gun, so...
I don't think that's where it came from. I don't think that it came from Mule Kick itself. I think it was more of... that could be your headcanon. But I think it more came from, they saw MW3, how everybody was just running with 16 different classes with a primary and a knife, or a secondary and a knife. And they're like, you know what, let's just... And then they saw all these skins where everybody had a knife where all the skins had like a knife in their chest pocket or in their bootstrap or something like that. Like, they're soldiers. They normally have a knife on them in case of emergencies anyway. And they're like, you know what? Just let people have a melee.
But I am happy that they've added that, because like so many times have I like hated the concept of like whether it was knifing with like the butt of your gun or a knife. Like now it's distinct. Like you actually know what you're going to be meleeing with.
Yeah, and you have to pull out your knife to do that. You don't like if you don't hold the button to pull it out, you will just smack them with your gun.
Which I also find very funny, especially in moments of panic when you're just like, shit.
And speaking of which, that kind of brings me to the next thing I want to talk about is the new hostage system.
I was waiting
love
for you
it.
to bring this up
So much.
Oh, dude.
So I'm not gonna get into what I do with it because I'm a in Call of Duty multiplayer.
Yes.
But essentially what you can do is they still have the execute system from the Modern Warfare series. You can go up, hold your melee button behind them, and you'll do a cool finishing move. You can change how it works, but I have it to set to double tap. So if you double tap the melee button behind somebody, you can actually take them hostage, and you have them as a human shield for like, I want to say 15, 20 seconds. During that time though, they implemented comms where you can talk to the person that you have taken hostage.
It's the greatest thing to ever happen to like content for Call of Duty. Like that, you know how many clips I've seen?
I've literally grabbed someone in a game and the first thing I hear through my microphone is, "Don't do it, I have a wife and kids."
Oh man,
it's so good. Like,
but I also love how it's not something that you could really abuse. Like,
no, you have to be sneaky. You have to get behind somebody, and it's just so good. And then not only can you talk to them afterwards, but you can either wait and use them as a shield, and then you'll do a little quick snap, or you can hold the melee or hold your execute button and do your finishing move on them for even more punishment to them.
Man, Call of Duty just looked at this game and they were like, we're going to give them 4 years to develop, but we're going to make sure they develop things that will, 1, make the game more fun, and 2, make people very angry. Not in the community's angry, but more in the people that are on the receiving end of some of these clips on YouTube are probably not the happiest.
I did want to kind of go over some of my favorite little things they've added into it, some of the the field upgrades. One of the new ones they've added, and my favorite, is called Sleeper Agent, where you essentially become Spy from Team Fortress 2, and you change your whole outfit changes into somebody from the other team, and if the enemies look at you, they see you as a teammate.
I remember hearing about that when that first dropped, and I'm like, that's the kind of wacky shit I want in Call of Duty. It's
so good.
Oh man,
they have
I gotta start using that. What the hell?
They even have team-based ones now. They got Warcry, which is it's essentially 2 stim flares. You light them, you do the little X-Force symbol with them, and then you and your nearby allies gain movement speed and increased health regen.
Man, it seems like Call of Duty is taking tips from other team-based shooters.
Yeah, and instead of dead silence, you have acoustic amp, where it doesn't silence your footsteps, it makes the enemy's footsteps louder for you to hear. I kind of like how they did the switch with that, where they're like, no, we're not going to give you 3 different ways to go silent, we're going to make it so you can hear the enemies better. They have, then the last field upgrade I want to talk about is Signal Lure, which is essentially a come at me bro. You press this field upgrade and it reveals your position to all enemies on the map, but you earn bonus points towards kill streaks for any enemy that you take out while the lure is active. And then they've added some cool stuff, like you got a spy cam for your tactical, to where you can quick take a picture and mark somebody. There isn't really anything too new in the way of perks. They've kind of just melded some together or took them apart and put them in different perks and stuff like that. But it does make it feel new. It makes it feel new. This doesn't feel like you're just playing this next year's COD.
Yeah, no, because especially with recent CODs, it's just kind of felt like it felt like NHL, or whatever other insert sports game here.
Madden for America.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I think another way that they kind of set it apart from other Call of Duties is like Nuketown's the first going back to Nuketown. Nuketown's the first remaster that this game has seen. Every other map has been completely unique, so I feel like that's kind of allowed the community to have a little bit of a refresher time to be like, oh, we can actually play a game that doesn't just spit, repeat, updated graphics of old shit at us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say, though, the maps for at least the core game mode feel really small. There are maybe one or two that feel like a decent size, but other than that, they feel small, and with how fast you can take down enemies, it feels harder. I like a challenge. That's just me. But I did have something else I was going to get into before we went over to zombies. Oh, yes, the prestige system. They have a new / this whole game is kind of a mixture of new and old, which I like. And I know they've done that in the past, air quotation. But this feels like it was done in such a precise, laid out way. It feels like they knew what they were doing for once.
It's almost like a game company gave developers enough time to make a game.
They had way more.
Oh yeah, they had like 4 years.
Yeah, which I honestly think that's a good thing, and I hope they finally do what they said they were going to do 2 years ago. And I want to get a COD every other year. At least every other year.
There's already going to be another Call of Duty coming out in 2025. Sorry.
I know, because we're getting Primus back, and oh my god, we'll talk a little bit about that when we get into zombies.
That's going to be a headache.
Yeah, but back to the prestige system. So you get to level 55, and you can prestige like in every other Call of Duty. This one, you get. I'm trying to remember okay. So your level resets to 1. You have to re-unlock the stuff that you've unlocked before, like the guns and stuff. But your weapon level itself does not reset. Any attachments that you have on your guns are still saved because of the new system for loadouts. I'm going to touch on that just real quick. When you put an attachment on a gun, it goes to all guns you have on every class. So you're using the same pistol on every class. If you edit it for one class, it will edit it for all your classes. I love that. I'm glad that they introduced that. You can also set specific variants that you have created to specific zombie loadouts, which we will touch a bit more on later. You get a permanent unlock, just like you did in the old Black Ops, where you can pick a perk card or wild card, field upgrade, anything that you can think of in your multiplayer thing. You can choose to permanently unlock that thing for every time that you prestige. Therefore, you also get extra rewards. Every 10 levels after you prestige, you will get either a weapon skin, a loading screen, a calling card, a operator skin, a gobblegum pack, just a bunch of different stuff. And this goes for 10 prestige levels. So you are essentially getting 50 rewards just by playing the game. And then you have your stats reset, air quotations. They don't reset. You get separate stats for each prestige level you go through. And then you have your lifetime stats, which are like what you would, brag about for your KD and stuff like that. You will, and it also says that seasonal content, so stuff you unlock in the Battle Pass, store, or for events, will never be relocked when you prestige. One little side thing for the prestige system that I did like that they added was when you do prestige, if you go to back out of it, just like in the original Modern Warfare 2, it makes fun of you. It makes chicken sounds if you back out of prestiging. You literally get like a chicken clicking. Yeah. But going over to the meat and potatoes of this...
Hold on.
Oh,
before you make the transition, 2 things. One, I just wanted to mention, found the guy on YouTube, Jake Rika. He's hilarious. Did it. I did the thing.
Oh my god.
Now, the other thing I wanted to discuss for this week is Bandai Namco's new Death Note game, Killer Within. Now, this was a shock to many as the trailer for this came out, and then, like 3 weeks later, the game launched, so it's like, holy shit. But this is going to be a 10-player online social deduction game, where players will be split into 2 teams with 3 roles, and that being the investigator, L, and Kira. Now, essentially, this is kind of like Among Us with the way the game kind of goes, but there are some unique aspects to this game that allow it to kind of stand out. And I feel like the investigator role will add a little bit more depth to it, so that way it's not just L versus Kira with the rest of the people just kind of doing nothing. But the game's graphics look kind of low tier, like it doesn't really look like what you would expect from the IP of Death Note, but my hope is that this game will provide an interest into the Death Note IP, which will later hopefully bring a story-based game. Maybe I would really appreciate that. Or maybe honestly any type of game. I would love a Death Note inspired video game because we've barely gotten any in the past, and this one looks to be pretty interesting. However, the only problem is it is only on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Steam. So you Xbox players are unable to play this game. I fortunately have a Steam account, but I barely play anything on it. But yeah, this game looks pretty cutesy and it looks interesting, and I hope they add new characters and new roles to the game, because I know there were different elements that got introduced into the latter half of Death Note that kind of made it more of a diverse story with more differing components to it. But yeah, that was a shorter talking point about the Death Note Killer Within game. Not much to tell as it's mostly an Among Us clone, but it is available now, so you can at least go check it out to support the IP of Death Note. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about for this week. So now I think it is time for me to send it back to my friends to end this week's episode.
But yeah, that's it from me. Did you want to take us out, Bobbert, since you didn't really get to talk much?
Hey man, this was your topic. I just wanted to add my thoughts on the game, and I know I am a chatterbox, so I sometimes go a little bit overboard with my interpretation of it, but I've gotten everything I wanted out. But that's everything we all have for this week. I want to thank all my lovely friends for visiting. For visiting me in the editor's dimension, or dragging me out, whichever interpretation you want to.
Oh, we dragged you out here.
Thank you so much, Trin.
A pleasure as always.
And thank you, Menace.
Oh yeah.
And that I'm tired. No, that has been everything for this week, and probably a couple extra weeks. But we will all see you in the next one. Farewell.
Bye.